Hey, welcome to this history masterclass with Mr. Salagaris. Today we're going to look at industry as part of the Industrial Revolution and what influence and impacts that had on society at the time. In this video we're going to look particularly at Britain and the industries that were present during that time. Hey, in our previous videos we looked at the agricultural revolution, cottage versus factory production, transport, child labor, and in our next video we're going to look at whether or not the Industrial Revolution did make the world a better place. Okay, let's talk about industries. Okay, industries during the Industrial Revolution were one of the most influenced and influential drivers of society. The major industries that we know about were wool, iron, coal, and cotton. Well, they're the ones that we're going to talk about. Okay, what made those particular industries thrive during that period, or what made them do really well? One of them was the availability of resources, so access to things like coal, access to things like cotton, and the technologies to be able to produce goods at a really efficient rate. Okay. The second thing is the availability of workers. So at that time, lots of people wanted jobs. So that was great for those industries because they wanted to increase their production. The third point is technology, which increased production rates. That meant that there was greater profits, greater goods that could be produced, which meant that at the end of the day, those industries made a lot of money. Okay, the fourth thing, is the demand for those goods and services. So people wanted to buy textiles. People wanted to buy the things that these industries were producing, like iron and those services. The fifth thing is the profits that they made. So the huge amounts of money that those industries made is what helped them to increase and improve and develop and have such an influence in society. 6, there weren't many laws or regulations that restricted what the industries did and what they forced their workers to do. So at the time, you could have workers under the age of 10 working in coal mines. You could have women and children working ridiculously long hours for very low pay. Those things meant that at the end of the day, there was a greater profit for those industries, which is really what it's all about. Okay, both the cotton and the wool industries were interdependent on the coal industry. So the availability of coal influenced the production and the profits of those textile manufacturers. Okay, the demand for coal to power steam technology increased the need for greater supply of coal. The iron industry also depended on the coal industry to be able to transport that iron around to where it needed to be used or processed. Okay, there were a few improvements to the production process which meant that those industries once again thrived. Those things were things like technology and skills, which improved the processes by which goods could be produced and manufactured. They were driven by the want for larger profits by those industries. Henry Ford came up with the idea of a production line which was designed to improve productivity. The production line is still something that we see today in some of our industries and factories and the way that they run and operate. Also, new technology increased the production, but the problem with that is that it decreased the need for unskilled workers. So by decreasing the need for those unskilled workers, it meant that there was an increase in the unemployment of people as jobs were replaced by machines. What that caused then was a hate for the development of new technology by workers because it put them out of a job. In saying that, it did increase the need for skilled workers, so things like engineers and things like mechanics to be able to work on those machinery to make sure that they were maintained and working properly. Urbanization was another thing that we need to talk about. That's the movement of people towards the city from rural areas to live and work. What benefits did that have on the societies at the time? It meant that technology was improved, which meant that production was improved, which was also caused by things like technology. There was the availability of resources and the range of food, which benefited society. There was the development of technologies, housing, ways of thinking, public transport, knowledge, and trade. They were all some of the major benefits that occurred during the Industrial Revolution. Okay, some of the problems that resulted from these industries thriving were, or from urbanization, were that there wasn't enough jobs or houses for people when they moved to the city. Throughout the industrial period, there was really poor living and working conditions. That had a real impact on the health and lifestyle problems of people that often turned to drugs and alcohol. Okay, no sewage, freshwater, or garbage disposal systems really did also influence the health and lifestyle of people during the time. Crime increased as a result of unemployment and the need for people to be able to have access to those primary things that they need, like food and water. So people would steal, end up getting caught, and end up getting sent to jail. Okay, and the last impact is environmental impacts like deforestation and pollution, particularly air and water pollution at the time. Okay, hey, let's recap what we just talked about. There were many benefits and problems caused by urbanization and the Industrial Revolution. There was also a huge amount of benefits to those industries at the time and improvements to those industries at the time as a result of new technology being developed and access to resources. Okay, make sure you watch this video again. Make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you stay tuned to the next video in this series on making the world a better place. Hey, my name is Mr. Salagaris. Make sure you like my channel, subscribe to it, and watch it again if there were points that you missed. Thank you.